Who's ready to create a bling-tastic New Year's card? In today's video, I'm going to show you one of my favourite techniques, which is dry embossing gold mirror cardstock for an absolutely stunning effect and gorgeous background that makes your New Year's card pop. Hi everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to another Stylish Cardmaking Techniques with Jenny video. Today, as we are about to approach the new year, I thought I would create a New Year's card, and I'm going to create extra bling using my gold mirror cardstock from Altenew. This stuff is super shiny and it looks absolutely stunning dry embossed. So of course, I'm going to be using this Crossing Stars 3D embossing folder because there's nothing better than stars at New Year, don't you think? Just a little bit of a reminder of the new year, but also fireworks, and just absolutely stunning when embossed in gold mirror cardstock. So I'm going to trim a panel down to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches and then run it through my die cutting machine, and look at that, absolutely stunning. And this technique works with any of Altenew's 3D embossing folders. You just get this amazing effect, just absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to create my sentiment as the focal point of my card. I'm using the Mighty Alphabet dies. These can be used to create any sentiment you like, and because they're a little thinner than the usual alphabet dies, you can get a little bit more on your card panel. So I'm going to keep the bling alive here by using Dazzling diamond glitter cardstock. This is a kind of silvery cardstock, but because I'm keeping this somewhat neutral on my card, the silver and the gold can go together. They don't always clash. And I've grabbed all my alpha dies and I'm just going to lay them out on my panel. I am going to need a couple of panels here, and I'm originally going to be spelling out Happy New Year. You'll see in a little bit I change it just to get a little bit more space on my card. And I'm going to use my satin masking tape to adhere the letters, and you'll see that I'm overlapping it here and there so that actually I can easily lift off these letters after I've run them through my die cutting machine. I'm using my mini blossom. It's the perfect size, this glitter cardstock, for fitting onto your mini blossom, and then you can do a really quick run through and then you're good to go, and it die cuts all these letters out. And you know that there's several repeats, so I've got a couple of P's in happy, I've got a couple of E's in New Year, so I am going to have to run this through a couple of times, and you can squeeze quite a bit onto one of these panels, but I'm also going to be backing them up. Look at that, it's just absolutely gorgeous, this sparkle that you get on that Dazzling diamond cardstock. I am going to be running it through again a few times on some more white cardstock. This is a 100-pound Nina Solar White, so it's a bit thicker. And I want to do a couple of run-throughs as well on this white cardstock so that I can stack up those layers. So you'll see I'm not removing that satin masking tape from that bunch of dies yet. I am actually going to use that. I can do it all in one go, run it through a couple more times, and then go back and do those last couple of extra letters that I need. Once I've done all my die cutting, I can just add some liquid glue. I've got a fine tip applicator, and I can just stack up the die cuts on top of each other, and they're really, really, really easy to line up. So I'm going to do a couple of white, and as I said, I'm using thicker white cardstock. If you've only got the 80-pound, you might want to do 3 layers of white, 3 or 4, and then the silver glitter cardstock on top is actually quite thick, so it gives you a nice chunky sort of almost chipboard-esque letter. And I like to put on top of it a heavy block just to keep it stuck down and straight until that glue has dried. Now, to adhere my letters, actually quite tricky to add liquid glue onto gold mirror cardstock without messing it up. So I'm going to add a vellum anchor. So I've die cut this tag shape from the Labels and Tags 1 die set, and it's perfect for adhering your letters onto with some more liquid glue. You can line them up perfectly on my crafter's mat. So I'm using those grid lines below to line up each of the letters so that they're perfectly aligned, and I can just adhere them down with that liquid glue directly on top. And that lets me pick up this whole piece. And the beauty of this is that I can add some more liquid glue behind the vellum, but behind those letters, and the glue is hidden by the chipboard letters, and because it's vellum, you can't see it through that either, but it adheres that vellum onto our card panel. And so I can just pick this piece up, bring in my card panel, put it into the center of my crafter's map, because that means I can get this perfectly centered, and then line up those points top and bottom, and that way I know I've got my sentiment right in the center, and I can put a block on top. And this way I can much more easily adhere down the letters to my background. That gold mirror is actually quite tricky to add liquid glue to, and by using the vellum I don't lose any of that fun background pattern. Now while that's drying, I'm going to stamp out a little strip sentiment. This is from the Happy Holidays stamp set, and I'm just going to use some Obsidian Pigment Ink onto white cardstock and then trim out that little strip. And there's some great sentiments in that set. It's one I reach for quite a lot. Really good for Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and then lots of these fun sub-sentiments that you can use with them or alone. And it just ties into the center of my new year, I should say. Right in the center, I can just pop that up on a tiny strip of foam tape. And that's almost done. I'm going to add it to a white note card, a top folding white note card. But I thought, you know what, it's New Year, so we need to add some embellishments as well. Why not? You know, glitter cardstock, gold mirror cardstock. Let's add some satin gold sequins, my favorite. And I'm going to add them here and there with some liquid glue. I'm going to pop it off the edge of the sentiment strip and then add a few here and there on the actual tops of the letters. Gives a little bit more dimension. I can tuck in some smaller ones as well, just directly onto the top of that gold mirror. And that adds that nice additional texture, that satin gold against the gold mirror. I really like that sort of contrast. And then you've got the glitter. And I really like how this looks, as well as the surprise, the vellum, that extra sort of different gold shade that it created once it was overlaid. And that finishes my card. Happy New Year, everyone. And be sure to subscribe to Altenew's channel if you don't already. I'll see you in the new year. Bye.
Hello crafters, Jen here. For more tips, techniques, tutorials, and to discover which paper crafting products are right for you, subscribe to Altenew's YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.